Let's just say right now, you don't feel too good, right? One of those painful, negative emotions just started taking over. You start feeling in your stomach at first. You're like, I don't like that. But you keep doing your thing, and it takes over a bit more, and a bit more, and a bit more. Okay, or maybe something happens and it even gets poked at, it gets triggered, and takes over even more. This happens to people throughout the day, every single day. Right? There's different emotions that they just don't want to feel. And the three go-to ways that don't work, that people gravitate towards, are number one, they try to express it. Right? Say right now, you just get really angry, right? Something just pokes at you. It's like, that's the straw that just broke the camel's back, and you start flipping out. For example, let me just check my Bitcoin real fast. Let's just say Bitcoin drops and you're just really mad. You're like, oh my God, why didn't I freaking out? Way number one is people don't like feeling that, and they're going to try to get rid of it by expressing it. And this is where they start, for example, screaming, right? People in traffic, they get cut off. It's like, how dare you? Why did you come? Like losing their stuff, right? They start, perhaps even punching the wall, like, come on, just trying to just get it out. They get in arguments, they take it out on other people, right? Trying to just, you take this, I don't want this. They try to express it. And obviously, as you know, this first way does not work. If it did, every single person screaming in traffic would be enlightened, right? If it did, being angry and punching a wall would do wonders. If it did, getting all triggered and then taking it out on someone and getting into an argument would also do wonders. Yet it doesn't, okay? Any kind of expression, because you're acting usually from this triggered spot, and the intention is to get rid of it, by doing so, you actually resist it internally even more. And guess what? Whatever you resist persists, and it just stays there. But not just that, it actually gets worse, because when you express it, it actually might trigger someone else, and then it's just this self-destructive feedback loop. Okay? Expressing a negative feeling, something you just don't like, never fixes it or gets rid of it. Okay? But that's the go-to way. People just try to express it as, again, just take it, right? You might be mad, like, people might even do it, by the way, in a more constructive way, right? They're angry, they might go on YouTube and like a rant about being really angry. But you can just sense the intention isn't so much to help the viewer, it's just to get rid of something that they're dealing with within. Okay? So that's the first way, and this doesn't work. Expression. The second way is escapism, where instead of, I don't like this, let me get rid of it through expression. I don't like this, let me take my attention and put it on something else so I don't have to be aware of this, and I can just kind of hope for it might go away, right? Let me just bury my head in the sand and hope for this to just kind of fade away on its own. And this one's extremely common, right? Escapism through, for example, social media. Escapism through Bitcoin, which, again, let me check my Bitcoin here. Escapism through work, escapism through socializing, escapism through movies, music, you name it, right? There's a reason why when people, when they used to leave their abode to go to work, when they would come back, the first thing they do is they turn on the TV, turn on the news, put some music on, some podcasts, you name it, because they just can't be with themselves. They need the constant distraction to bury their head in the sand and not fully be with what's going on inside. Okay, this is escapism. Pornography is also a huge one. One thing I've noticed behind the scenes with a lot of clients is, prior to me working with them, their day-to-day life is going to work or, working from home. And then it's this combination of YouTube, audiobooks, podcasts, right? Self-help and pornography. And it's this back and forth, right? It's like, let me watch some self-help. Okay, let's pornography time. And they do their thing, and then, I got to recharge a bit, back to self-help. Back and forth until they're so tired they just pass out. That's the behind the scenes of a lot of people, which is crazy. It really doesn't matter here too, by the way, if you try to stop escaping something. Like if you're like, I realize, I watch too much pornography as an example. You could actually stop. Be like, I'm going to stop watching porn. But what you'll realize is, sure, you might stop watching porn, but that escapism mechanism is still active, and it'll just find another way. right? Where maybe now you're not watching porn, but you're doing something else. Okay, it doesn't get to the cause if you just address the way you escape. Okay, so this is strategy number 2, and it doesn't work. Now, the third way is we try to numb how we feel. Okay, expression, escapism, numb. Meaning, if we can't get rid of it through expression, we can't distract ourselves, well, we can maybe try to change the texture of it and perhaps numb its impact, right? And this would be done through, for example, drinking. If I drink alcohol, it might numb how I feel. If I do drugs, it'll numb how I feel. If I eat, it will numb how I feel. Okay, for me personally, eating, when it comes to numbing, was, and still is to some extent, my go-to, right? I don't know drugs, I'm not a big drinker, but food, oh yes. And this is why, if you've been following me for a while, even, a few years back in 2014, right, when I went through that whole scandal, I put on a ton of weight because to cope with all that, my go-to way was eat, 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 eat. Okay, so those are the top 3 ways. Expression, escapism, numbing, and none of these get to the cause. None of these truly work. But if you suddenly get this and you audit your day-to-day life, it is insane how we do these nonstop throughout the day, every day. You're going to start seeing this everywhere. We covered the 3 ways that don't work. Okay, expression, escapism, and numbing. And of course, the 4th way, and this is the way, is letting go. Okay, now, when I say letting go, to be clear, I don't mean getting rid of. And this is key. This is really the big differentiator between those ways that don't work and the way that does work. If you think about expressing, if you think about escaping, and if you think about numbing, the intention beneath those 3 ways is to get rid of. It's to move away from what you're feeling. Right? It's resistance. And whatever you resist persists. This is really why those 3 ways don't work. So letting go is different. Instead of, ooh, I feel this, let's do something to get rid of it, letting go is, let's let go of the resistance to experiencing this, and let's be with it fully, unconditionally. It's a movement towards as opposed to a movement away from. Okay, so when I do, for example, letting go meditation, which I still do myself, right, on a regular basis, when I let go, and even when I start doing deep breaths, I'm never like, oh, let's get rid of. It's me sinking into it. It's letting go of the resistance and being with. And when you do that, when you just stop resisting, guess what? Nothing is permanent. That thing you're trying to avoid, right? Oh, get rid of. If you just experienced it, it would change, right? Emotions change, feelings change, they mature. There's a different texture. Nothing's permanent. You just have to let it and allow it to change. And that's what we don't do. By default, we resist, right? Even trying to get rid of, or we try to understand or fix, it's still labeling it as bad and creating more resistance. So the way is really, when this comes up, and actually the best time to let go is when that urge to either express, escape, or numb is the strongest. So you can actually write down, for example, your go-to ways of escapism, right? You could be like, okay, Bitcoin. I'm not going to check it. Like Bitcoin. Number 2 might be, okay, YouTube, porn, whatever. And then you just start catching it, right? Or numbing yourself. Eating. When you catch yourself doing that action that tends to be your go-to way of escaping yourself, instead of doing the escapism thing during that time, when it's getting more and more intense, you're like, I just want to get rid of this. That is actually the best time to let go of it. Okay, I actually tell my clients, time your releases around when there's that urge to escape. And what happens is, those things that run you, and once more, if you audit your life through this, right, expressing, escaping, and numbing, it's everywhere. And if you start just changing it, every time you feel that urge to do one of the 3, you start letting go instead and being with, suddenly that starts fading away throughout your life. And instead of trying to force yourself to do it, it just naturally shifts, right? Instead of, I need to eat the food to numb, I'm going to force myself to not eat. You just won't need the food to numb anything because you're okay being you. And that's the whole process. It's, hey, let's re-own and let's be okay being everything that is me. Every single emotion, so on and so forth. And what you'll also realize by doing this, the more you let go, is that there is no such thing really as a negative emotion. Every emotion is there to serve you. You wouldn't survive otherwise. It's simply negative labels which then create the suffering. Okay, attachment and resistance is what creates suffering. You can even go back to old school Buddhism for that one, right? No attachments, no aversions. So the aversion methods don't work. Those are the three that everyone uses. It's like that running away from, or even attachment, right? I must only feel this, and you resist. Attachment and aversion go hand in hand. Instead, it's embrace, accept, let go. Okay, so those are the ways that we're conditioned in terms of dealing with our emotions. No one really teaches us how to let go. Ideally, you should just be taught this from the moment you're born, right? How to embrace your way through life, how to feel your way through life, as opposed to escaping, numbing, expressing, and things would be peachy.
Like, this program is such a game changer. The way everything's structured and the material, it's been already, even for me, I'm noticing a crazy change in the way that my whole life's like playing out.
What you put together is just incredible. There's nothing like that.
I've just jumped like a million levels. It's just been a complete 180 for my experience of existing. That's awesome.
It's just been so huge in terms of so many of the things I'm finally understanding and realizing, and epiphanies I'm having.
What you do is a huge inspiration to me, and I think it's one of the most beautiful things you can give to another human in this entire world.
You saved my life, man. I'm telling you, this is real, man.
Sometimes all it takes is just one person who believes in you. Find people who are where you are in life and model them, work with them. I would not be here if I didn't have people who held me accountable.
Wow.
I just felt a click and things are changing.
This program was just top notch.
Seriously, like, this is a masterpiece. This is perfect.
Everything, the way it's set up, the live calls, like all the support from the coaches is incredible.
It's been nuts.
I just had my tears of joy.
This was the best decisions I ever made.
Thank you for creating something wonderful like this.
This program was phenomenal.
This program was amazing.
This program has definitely changed my life.
I know for a fact I'm in the right place.
This is exactly what I was expecting from the program.
It's been spectacular.
I feel really lucky to have found you.
Thank you so much, Julien. It's worth every dollar.